Welcome to the T&C Random Fandom podcast. We are here to have fun and talk all things pop culture, collecting, and nerd culture in general. Make sure you join the conversation during our live stream with our most excellent hosts, Craig Borden and Tommy Mock. Let the shenanigans begin.
Hello and good evening and welcome to the Nerdyverse, because tonight we're going to have all kinds of fun on T&C Random Fandom here as we talk some really weird fun that we're going to do. It's a little brain concoction I have, but we'll get to that in a moment. Tommy, how the heck are you, buddy? Good seeing you.
It's good seeing you too. It's going pretty well. As you can see behind me, we are getting a little bit sparse down here in the old cave, the music cave, because as everybody knows from last episode, I am moving. Karen and I are moving
Mid-move.
we're kind of mid-move. We're doing all of the little small move stuff, and then the movers are going to come in at the end of the month. So we'll officially be in Fairport at the end of this month. So as you can see, it's a slow go, but we're still packing away and carrying stuff ourselves and letting the movers do the heavy lifting. So that's where I'm at right now. And oh, by the way, go Bills.
Go Bills. I know, right? So before we swip into the world of a football podcast, let's talk what we're going to do tonight, because you and I have been trying to think of some fun things that you and I can riff with and have some fun brainstorming, goofing around, and just have a great nerdy conversation with. I don't know how I stumbled onto this, but I thought of this idea that it's like, okay, great, you know, all the multiverse stuff is the fad. Everything's, look at all the Marvel characters. They're crisscrossing over. They're doing this thing. They have 90 Spider-Man in one movie, you know, whatever it might be. And I was thinking, it's like, okay, great. They're playing within the rules of their own little universe. What happens if you tweaked it just a little bit where it's this pop culture multiverse and you get to play with whatever the heck two combinations of things you would like to play around with? If you guys saw the promos that we put out, there's a reason I had stupid pictures of Gandalf and Darth Vader together. There's a reason I had the DeLorean in a Mad Max video. There's all these other weird, stupid things that I was thinking of. And then the promo that was actually the cover for the show tonight was what if Xenomorph got lost in the Death Star somewhere and Stormtrooper can't shoot at shit to begin with, Tommy. That might be not a bad one for us to start with here. What would happen?
Well, being as Vader was on the Death Star, you definitely would have to know that he would lay waste to a bunch of xenomorphs, but not after they've probably laid waste to a majority of the Death Star personnel. So it would be like, we don't need a group of teenagers to blow us up. We just got, some xenomorphs. I actually thought that was a really cool, interesting idea. Because Disney has done their versions of this in I think you've probably watched What If series, and like if there wasn't a Captain America, but there was, Captain Britain, and that was, what's her, Agent Clark?
Agent Carter.
So when you brought this up, I was like, God, man, the possibilities are endless, but yet they're kind of weird.
There's some that have already done it, and that's the fun thing too, which we're going to talk about. Some of those franchises that have already done some weird crossovers, and a couple that might even be on their way to Hollywood as we speak. But Tommy, when we came up with this idea and we started riffing on it a little bit, the other fun thing that you and I talk about is this is something that we can almost have our show's secret handshake with this thing. This is something we can do. We're reoccurring when we have guests on. It's just you and I. It's something to fall back on that we can have a good nerdy conversation with, and just, like I said, have a riff and roll and see where the fun conversation goes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree. So what were your thoughts on the xenomorph
I was starting to go down that way, but I wanted to make sure I kicked the ball in your direction. It's like, okay, great. If there's no Vader, nothing. It's just the stormtroopers. It's worse than the movies for Alien at that point, because at least Ripley could shoot. It's like those things. Meanwhile, stormtroopers can't hit their water if they fell out of a boat, or even though Obi-Wan says they're very precise. I don't see this happening. I see this like literally this would be like full on takeover. The kyber crystals and everything are now property of the xenomorphs, and the next queen is just taking over the universe. It's one of those crazy things like that I would think that would end up happening, because there's just regular people in, blaster fire. I don't know if it's going to quite cut it.
So here, let me throw this out there to you then.
Shoot.
Because we've had the crossover of Predator and Alien, and we've had several movies, and I know that that's probably one of the ones that you were hinting towards. But in Star Wars lore and stuff that is canon, stuff that isn't canon, that's considered legends and stuff, we find out that there's multiple different species out there that actually could be Jedi or Sith. Do you think there could be a xenomorph Sith or a xenomorph Jedi?
So is that like a lightsaber completely like acid etched? Is that like one of those like kind of things going on? Oh my god!
Or it's just like the mouth that comes out is actually a lightsaber. Just,
Yeah. Or it's just it spits out with the little lightsaber going. So, oh my god! Well, first off, Sith Lord. There's how else would you train it? You know what I mean? That's the thing, right? So that would have to be completely pure dark side manifestation, I think, if you were going to go that way with a lightsaber wielding xenomorph. I think the AI would have even had trouble generating a picture for that one, Tom.
Yeah. But that's because we get Wookiees that are Jedi, and I think even in Legends there was a Hutt that was a Jedi, and so it makes you wonder if there's something that could be crossed over into that. Like, would they make it to where it's not just a killing machine if it was actually a logically thinking creature, and it could basically learn how to be, a Jedi or a Sith, because there's always two.
Always two, and it was the Queen and the other one at this point, or you imagine Darth Vader or not Darth Vader, but this seems more Darth Maul to me. He would train a xenomorph to be a Sith Lord at that point, and then just bites his head off or just goes blah, and goes from there.
So when you brought the subject up, and then you actually did the promo post on Instagram, which was something that you haven't done in a long time. So you obviously had some time on your hands.
I had fun for 5 minutes. I've been renovating the office / studio here a little bit, and only had a half day at the one job. So here we are.
I need you to pull up some of the ones that our friend Kate the Great has put up, because I think some of her ideas are absolutely awesome, and I think that we should probably discuss some of her suggestions before we start riffing on some of the things that you came up with earlier.
Yeah, you said those were in the Instagram?
They were in the Instagram. They're on their comments. They're not DM.
There's no comments showing on the one that I posted with the clips. So if you remember them,
I don't remember them. I don't remember them.
Don't.
So, but anyways, go ahead.
Hey, if you're listening, you're gonna have to hit me up on a chat here with it, and I'll bring them up. So one that I thought was funny, I was like, okay, great. I happen to be watching Twisted Metal right now, is the show that I'm currently watching, and I'm like, what random stupid car would come in here that would be really hilarious? And that's like, I was thinking, if you had basically the world of Mad Max, and all of a sudden, freaking Knight Rider shows up. You got Kit mixed in with the whole weirdness that is the Mad Max movies. So you got an AI running around.
Right, and if you had a Kit that survived the nuclear war, but here's another thought though. How about Kit in the land of the Terminator?
Same idea.
You got an AI potentially fighting an AI.
I see where you're going. But it's like, okay, well, in the world of just pure insanity that is the Mad Max movies, does Kit actually survive? I think was my bigger question.
Right.
The level of brutality and crazy for an English accent like him to be wandering around just seemed a little off.
Mr. Feeney.
Yeah.
For those of you who
I
don't
totally
know,
forgot that it was Mr. Feeney.
the man who played Mr. Feeney on Boy Meets World also was the voice of Kit.
Yes, God rest his soul. So, but at the end of the day, that was a random stupid one that popped in my head, and Kate's all over the listening right now, so I got her in the comments.
Oh,
So you can stop
good.
Should just invite her on to have our hypothetical with us. So one she came up with here, I am particularly fond of, and so everybody knows the show Dexter, but what if he was actually being hunted by the great Sherlock Holmes?
Oh,
that's two brilliant minds kind of fighting at each other.
Kate gets all heady with us. She actually thinks we're smart.
Yeah, hey, flip flop. You know, she does. When the next one, she can go a complete 180 and it's more back our speed. So I just thought, I'm like, oh, that's a really good one. I like that because, like I said, it's almost two brilliant people to, have pitted minds against each other right there.
So that's actually a really good one. If Dexter was being hunted or being, I wouldn't say hunted, but trying to be brought to justice by Sherlock Holmes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm semi-familiar with Dexter. Never really watched it much, but Dexter was a serial killer, but he only killed bad people, right?
Hunted serial killers, basically, yeah. He's better than that.
I got one for Kate.
Sure.
How about something in the same vein as that, but how about Dexter hunting Jack the Ripper?
That'd be interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now
you're just playing fun when Nemesis is there. You're just trading the bad guy for the bad guy there. I see what you did.
But is Dexter really a bad guy if he's just taking out bad people?
That was always the conundrum in the show.
Right.
Really
you're doing God's work.
Yeah, in the most appropriate manner.
Yeah,
dear God. Yeah. So another one that I like here that she had is, and I'm Kate. I'm channeling this thought in my part here because of the rabbit in the movie that you obviously came on this show to chit chat with us on. Is the greatest of all hand grenades of the Monty Python and Holy Grail. Monty Python does Jaws. Is the so is it like you're hunting Jaws?
Oh God!
That might be sheer lunacy to put it in the British term.
So your flesh, well, you're half a body there.
Yeah, literally half a body, and he's like kind of like puddling around.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah. I just had this horrible picture of them doing in the water. Exactly. Oh God. Yeah, don't even have a boat because they can't afford the boat. They got to do the coconuts.
So I gotta tell you, there's a movie out, and I know you've seen it, and if you haven't seen it, you don't have any business talking pop culture. One movie that I thought was a great time, and it was just full beyond full of pop culture, everything, movies, video games, everything. It's a movie called Ready Player One. And
you could have used that as a basis for this conversation with how crazy that show got, or movie got. I mean,
yeah, and I mean we're talking this was like genre on top of genre on top of everything else. To me, this is how you do a crossover movie. You get so many different intellectual properties. And you put them all together in this like goulash chili thing, and I thought the movie was fantastic, and I would like to see more like that because, I mean, every single pop culture reference you possibly can get. You got movies, animated movies like what was it, the Iron Giant?
Yeah, well,
And
then the fact that he literally attacked somebody at the end of the movie by going, and here's Chucky.
right. And then, but again, you got Kits, you got the DeLorean, you got, Ecto One, and I think you even brought up a good idea for one, which was what if the Ghostbusters were with the Ghost Hunters team? I was like, well, it kind of would defeat the purpose though, because they're out there just trying to see if there's really something out there, and the Ghostbusters actually can tell you, yes, there is, and we can catch them all.
So specifically, my wife watches that show Ghost Hunters all the time, and she loves them. But the one guy is kind of a prick. So I'm sitting here going, him in a room with Dr. Venkman would just be hilarious. They'd be like trying to one up each other constantly, and then one of them would just get pissed off with a proton pack, and shit would happen.
And now we have a new ghost.
Exactly. You better hunt it.
But here, I will throw a new one out there for you. What if you cross Ghostbusters with Pokemon?
You gotta catch them all.
The ghosts you catch, you actually turn into fighters and you fight other ghosts and other ghosts, busters.
That's a new IP that smells like gold that we should hurry up and copyright on this. So,
Pokebusters. Ghostamon.
That sounds like our buddy Will being on this show and telling us about the crossovers with the Magic the Gathering cards and to Kate's fun with the Monty Python, that they have the holiest of hand grenades in the Magic the Gathering. Go ahead.
I looked up those cards, and they're expensive for those IP cards.
Yeah. They only make a limited run of them. That's the catch. So it's just like anything else. Demand, okay, pop culture, there it is. And then obviously the rarity being the other piece to that whole thing. So good stuff. I want to go back to that Ready Player One though, because that was the closest I think we're going to get to like what we're talking about here in a Molotov cocktail of pop culture all in one thing. I loved that movie, but the one thing that struck the entirety of that movie to me was that it's like, maybe this was better off for a TV show, and then you really could have extended out the story through a season and then had even more of the pop culture stuff that you and I wanted. I loved the movie, but I was sitting here going, if Steven Spielberg didn't greenlight this, would this have been a movie? Because I have a strange feeling it might have been a TV series with all the stuff that were going on these days.
Well, you got to think about it is, again, all of those intellectual properties cost money. Correct. And in order to do something like that, you've got to be able to shell out the dough and then also be able to pay the royalties to actually use all of that stuff.
And this is why Amazon would pay for it, Tommy.
Okay. Right. And then all of our subscriptions go up another friggin' $30 or whatever, because
you would have paid whatever for that nerdiness, it.
But so but I agree with you with that, because it was just like, nostalgia after everything that, and even the Adam Sandler movie Pixel, Pixel, and that was great. Yes, that and that was awesome. It was like, God, man, I remember that. That was awesome.
This is stupid. It was
so good. It's good.
Exactly. And it's because, and this is just the level of your and I's nerdiness here. You and I saw it for what it was. We weren't diving in for the level of content of an Adam Sandler movie going, oh my God, what are you doing this? He could have done this. And it's like, well, he's just having fun. That's what you were supposed to go to the movie for and do. You were supposed to go have fun. Exactly why we're having the weirdest of all topics tonight.
Yeah. I got to say though, just a kind of a quick side note is, our neighbor, one of our neighbors here in Canandaigua, is also a creator. His name is Alex. Lived down the street from us. And when we were doing our open house, he had come in
Just to say hi.
with his husband into our house just to kind of see what it was, and he was like, "Oh my God!" He goes, "I had no idea you were into such nerdy stuff," and it was just, and
All you had
I
to
was
do was
like,
be a
"Oh,
fan, Tommy.
yeah." So so we kind of well, he sent us a card and had a nice bottle of wine that he left for us, and
Nice.
so we kind of started following each other on Instagram, and he's a content creator, and when he referred to me as a creator, I was like, "Am I really a creator? Is that the moniker that I fall under? Because I don't know if I really fall under that, but I certainly do appreciate it." But apparently
That's just the modern word, Tommy, for storyteller. I really feel like that's all it is.
Alex, if you're watching, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys coming over and sharing the love and everything. And hopefully we'll have you on the show one day and you can talk all the nerdy crap you want to talk about with us. That's all we do.
Pick a topic. That's the whole point. And so into that, we're going to talk about some of the fun things we're trying to get scheduled too before the end of the show here for whatnot and your giveaway idea here that we're going to talk on how people can enter in on Instagram later after the show and next week here. So on that note, let's talk other silly things, Tommy, and let's dive down this rabbit hole. I have a fun one that you would have referenced Spinal Tap moments earlier before we were off the show, especially with the fact that the new movie's coming out, all the wonderful content for that's coming back out. I'm just going to go like this because if Spinal Tap's already such a serious movie, why not have Animal and the Electric Mayhem hang out on tour with Spinal Tap?
You know what? That's actually a good idea.
You just imagine like Animal being like the stand-in drummer and then constantly having some weird accident.
The one drummer that could actually survive all of those weird accidents. But honestly,
you can't dust for vomit. If he choked on vomit, it was somebody else's vomit.
Any time you can actually bring a Muppet into a movie, especially that kind of movie, it's the perfect. Even having Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem like open up for and then all of a sudden that whole band blows up, but all that's left is Animal. It's like, okay, well, we'll just put you on tour with us.
Yeah, there you go. See, this shit writes itself. This is perfect. Because that was all I was thinking. I'm sitting here going, I was like, okay, great. Well, the Muppets are already an animated cartoon rock and roll band of the Spinal Tap anyways. So what would be the difference in the fact that if they were all of a sudden just with Spinal Tap opening up for them, and maybe they were crushed almost by a big Stonehenge instead of the little one.
A real one?
Yeah, it was only it wasn't in danger of being crushed by a dwarf. It took out the Mayhem.
Yes. Oh man,
too funny.
But but going into the world of crossovers that actually have happened and were very you always when I was a kid, you wanted to see it happen, and when it finally did, I was like, man, that's awesome. When King Kong met Godzilla, and we got several movies. Now we got several movies now. I mean, we had several Godzilla live, like outside of the Japanese Godzilla movies or the kaiju movies kind of thing, with Pacific Rim. But when you actually took Godzilla, the King of Monsters, and you put him up against, and then eventually teamed up with King Kong, that was
lights
out. That was like 5-year-old Tommy going, "Oh my God!
Wow, they did it!" You're not wrong. That is that kind of stuff, and they still do that with King Kong and Godzilla too. Recent was that was the most recent Godzilla movie was with Kong and Godzilla, correct?
Yeah.
Because it was after the successful Kong Skull Island, which I enjoyed very much. But yeah, those kind of movies, it's just fun to see those big monsters in a big battle like that, and then just keep, they made so many of those old ones. I just remember watching those Saturday mornings because they were basically on right with cartoons and stuff when they ended on Saturday mornings. It's like, oh, we need something between football. All right, toss. And those were always on. That's where I got introduced into most of those monster movies.
Yeah. When I was a kid, we had a family friend, Tim Markowitz was my dad's friend, and I used to go over to their house to see the younger friends, and they I don't know if you remember Gamera. It was like a giant flying turtle, and he would stand up and he would fight, but he was like a Godzilla type creature, but he was a giant turtle, and his name was Gamera. I don't know if you.
I remember the name. I'm not placing the turtle.
But yeah, and he had like boar teeth that came out from underneath and everything, but Gamera was awesome, and he would fly, and he like stuck his back legs in, and then flames would shoot out, so he's like flying across the
boom.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if anybody knows Gamera, by all means, look it up. If you don't know who it is, look it up. But Gamera was always one of my favorites when I was a kid, as far as like the kaiju monsters out there.
Yep.
But I would like to see like a Pacific Rim Godzilla King Kong kind of crossover, because I think that would be good. I like the whole idea of the giant mech suit, Robotech kind of thing. I know people know what Robotech is, and if you don't know what Robotech is, you've been living under a rock for like 40 years. But
one of them became a transformer, like legitimately. Jetfire. That's an Jetfire. Yeah, he's legit Robotech toy that they just said, "Here's an Autobot logo. You're Transformer now."
Now here's another one though. Battle of the Planets. If you don't know Battle of the Planets, look it up. But I would love to see a Battle of the Planets and Voltron crossover. People should know who Voltron is, and not the goofy ass vehicle Voltron. They had like 90 vehicles that made different parts. No. The Lion Voltron. Lion Force Voltron was the best Voltron out of all of them, and that was like
only
the
one that
catalyst
matters,
of what happened. Yeah, and that was like that's where basically the Power Rangers basically came from. The whole concept of bringing the animal, robots together to make one giant robot.
Yeah. You might have actually just stumbled onto the seed for this whole idea, because I didn't really know how this got into my head. But I'm walking through the living room the other day, and Peyton's playing Fortnite, and its Power Rangers are now in Fortnite. So it's like the Star Wars one was fun. I enjoyed it. But that might have been the catalyst to it. So, but anyway, I got a couple more from Kate the Great in the comment section here, and if anybody is listening and wants to put anything in the chat, please do it. We'll chit chat on it. That's the whole point. It can't be all great ideas from Kate, but they are good ones so far. Kate, keep rocking.
That's why she's Kate the Great. They're all great ideas.
Kate has got Doctor Who in the Star Trek universe. So you got, was he a captain at that point, or is he still a doctor?
We got to get her on. We got to get her on, because I would love to have her explain what she's thinking about when it comes to that, because trying to think of how that would work, but then again,
I know Star Trek, but Doctor Who's not exactly one of my monster fortes, so I'm aware of the pop culture parts of that with the TARDIS and the screwdriver, but
so I haven't really got into Doctor Who since the 12th Doctor, I think that was David Tennant. I could be wrong. Kate, tell me who it was.
Well, we might have it. She's still listening.
Yes.
Excuse me. It's meatball sucks. Ooh. Another one she's got, and funny enough, I have one that they kind of did this. She has King Arthur in Game of Thrones, and she said that's the last one she's got. So not a bad one.
Lies. I lied.
Nice.
She's going to come up with something else. I know it. But no,
it'll happen before the end of it.
King Arthur in Game of Thrones. Now that's actually a really, and then you could pull in what like Lancelot and Guinevere and
But is it more like Lancelot from Monty Python that she loves so much? And
Camelot.
Camelot, that's a funny place. Oh God.
Yeah. Oh geez. No,
but funny enough, that was a good crossover stupid movie that she's making me think of now is the kid that played Rookie of the Year that was also in American Pie. Is one of the friends he was dating Tara Reid in the first American Pie movie. Yeah. He did this movie called A Kid in King Arthur's Court, which was actually basically the kind of concept we're talking about here. Take somebody completely out of this thing and throw them into another. There's a young kid, played baseball, did all this stuff. All of a sudden, just shows up in Camelot.
So
weird. That's 90s movies for you.
So let me ask you this: have you ever seen? Now, this movie came out in the very early '80s, maybe late. No, it was the very early '80s. And the movie was called The Final Countdown, and basically what it is that the USS Nimitz. Now, at the time, it was a like one of the most advanced aircraft carriers in the modern age, goes into a kind of like time wormhole and ends up at just before the beginning of the Pearl Harbor attack. And so it's like, how do they come up with the whole conundrum of, do we alter
history,
time,
or not, right?
Yeah, history, right? Do we alter history by basically laying waste to the Japanese fleet before they can do anything to Pearl Harbor with this, massive modern aircraft carrier with, F-14s on it, and they basically can run circles around all of these planes, and easily just wipe out the Japanese fleet. It's a really interesting time machine kind of genre.
I saw that, but it was a really long time ago.
It's an older movie, early '80s. Yeah, you'll have to look that up. But that was a really cool idea, and not necessarily in the genre, crossover, but it kind of gives you that what if, we went
to your point in the Doctor Who-ish ballpark / Star Trek.
right. You go back in time and you're like, holy crap. Now Star Trek had done their own kind of crossover where you had Captain Kirk and Picard in a movie together, and I think that was called Star Trek Generations. And that's also where Kirk, I believe, gets killed. Like actually gets killed in that movie. But yeah, those kind of crossovers are actually pretty interesting. But they're their own IPs.
Yeah. So I got one for you, and it's because I'm so over zombies, vampires, everything, because I feel like pop culture destroyed all of that to me in the last 10 years. So one I've always been a fan of is Blade, the Vampire Hunter. Drop Blade into the freaking Twilight universe and let him hunt the kids.
That's horrible.
They're vampires. What do you want me to tell you? But they're teenager emotional ones.
Okay.
They sparkle. I'm just picturing Wesley Snipes. Like, I had the picture that I told it to generate on the AI thing when I did the promo, and I was like, just have freaking Wesley Snipes Blade drop out of the freaking trees with all of his swords and everything out and just going nuts. Turn them all to ash.
So that in itself would be that. I like that idea because like I said, it's interesting because then you also have to look at the werewolf aspect of that movie too. You know, do we have another person that fights werewolves? You know, is it? It's not Van Helsing.
Yeah. Hey, I have a strange feeling that he'd be just like, "You're not supposed to be here," and he starts going after them too. All the
Wait a
emo
minute.
monster movie stuff just dies in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
like fine, it's
yeah.
like Jaws in the Little Mermaid.
Imagine her just sitting there with like the fork twisted in her hair and then dun
Yeah.
dun. Oh no.
Thingamabobs, I got two.
Ah. Poor little flounder, Sebastian.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. Oh, we're going to hell.
So it is what it is. I like how we just turned this like completely dark from me just having Blade attack the children from the Twilight movies.
So you know, and the thing now here's one that I know that is happening. It's already happened in toy form. It's happened in comic book form. Is the GI Joe Transformers crossover? I own a
Always
few.
a
I have,
fun one.
and it is a fun one. And they are allegedly are in the works because, and it's been brought up. It was kind of like an after credit scene in the last Transformer movie,
Yes.
and that they're looking to do the actual live action crossover of GI Joe and the Transformers, which they kind of already did. You know, when they had like the army working with the
Yeah.
you know the Autobots
It
and
just wasn't
whatnot,
that
but
specific unit.
right. But now now they can, you know, and it would be it'd be really
Yeah.
interesting to see Sergeant Slaughter in the Triple T tank that transforms into Cup, you know,
I would
and then
hope that they would do that too, because at the end of the day, they have been slowly getting away from the Mayhem part of the Transformers movie, which thank God. That's my nerddom right there in a nutshell. If to me at least that makes me happier, is the thing that burned me the most about the Transformers movies was they were all about the humans. You have a movie called The Transformers, and you're focused on
right,
Shia LaBeouf. It's like, I don't want to hear him crying. Please move on. And they started off, well, I'm like, it made sense in the first movie. Great, you had to have a way to humanize the Transformers a little bit. But after that, it's like, okay, you've established all these characters. It doesn't need to be about the human beings anymore. And you can do exactly that and reboot the Transformers series like they've been slowly doing over the last few years, and bring GI Joe back the way it was meant to be. Like,
right.
have Sergeant Slaughter before he comes back, before he unfortunately, will die at some point. But I don't want to see him because
Well,
he's just getting
he's
older. Give
he's
him some
already
screen
given
time.
up his likeness. He's already signed over so that they can use his likeness and whatnot.
Yep.
So it wouldn't be a surprise to see a younger version of a Sergeant Slaughter.
But
But
you
I
can
would like
do
to
that
see
and have it really fun in that movie with those
right,
two, and then it
right,
spins
and I
off
would
into its own thing after the movie.
right.
Properly.
I would love to see like what they've done with the toys, like Megatron is a Hiss tank, you know, and Bumblebee was an Awe Striker, and there's talks of making uh, Optimus Prime a Mobat tank. Now, people know I'm a GI Joe guy, so when I'm actually naming the actual vehicles that they are, you
Yeah.
know. So
But they, in the Transformers lore that they've established, everything's already, they change their damn look every movie anyway. So, and not to mention,
and
it's
they
just a
have the
big
ability to
General
do that.
Motors one anyway.
Right. So, but if you honestly have the two factions, you have the Autobots, you have the Decepticons, you have GI Joe, and you have Cobra. You know, think it's to me it writes itself because now you
Yeah.
don't have to alienate another country as the bad guys, but you have this global terrorist organization known as Cobra, and you have this multinational freedom force known as GI Joe, plus you got their giant robot, counterparts that help them fight these battles and everything. I think it could work as long as they try to stick to the source material, because
And there are
sometimes,
so many comic books of exactly what we're talking about.
yeah,
So many.
yeah. That's how Alien and Predator, Alien versus Predator came about. It started out as a comic book,
Yeah.
and then it was just like, you know what, this actually is a good idea. Let's try this again. And then you even find out there's other comic books out there that you find out, what happened to some of the other people in the Predator movies. Like, how did Dutch die? Well, this is where actually what happened. What did Dutch say? What was he thinking? What was his motivation? Why did he take off his shirt? Why did he cut himself? Was he depressed? I don't know.
Stuff happens in the woods. But to your point, there's something fun there to be had, and I really, really hope they get that kind of a thing going. And that brings me to another one here that I think, Tommy, would be a fun one too. And there's some funny things you could do with just the way you film something. And I was sitting here going, I'm like, okay, great. What could I turn into like a quasi like office show, like The Office? And I'm sitting here going, I'm like, okay, great. What if you did a documentary following people around like at the X-Men mansion, doing that kind of a thing? You'll have, Wolverine is the pissed off, old guy. You got Cyclops that thinks he's the, Dwight of all things, and he's in charge of things, even though Professor X is clearly in charge of everything.
The funny thing is that if you subscribe to like the AI generators that you pay for, and you can type that stuff in there, they will come up with stuff even with the music, and they'll like have dialogue like,
Yeah.
I'm
I've seen some
Cyclops,
stupid ones
I'm
like
a
that.
know-it-all.
Yeah, I'm the jock. Oh God. Or
But
what
yeah,
if go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What if you crisscross Tron with the Matrix?
Ooh.
The Tron world is actually the computer world that the Matrix people are trying to free them from. That was one of my favorite ones I thought of. That could work.
That could work.
And
they already got the new Tron movie coming out, which is how they're crossing over right now.
And that was the trailer that I was watching while I was thinking this whole thing. It popped up there in the Savannah Bananas baseball game last night.
Oh God!
What is
the banana ball?
Don't worry about it.
Playing basketball, and they
it's
were
funny.
on
I would
Jimmy
highly
Fallon
recommend
the
it.
other night.
Yeah, well, it's because they sold out Yankee Stadium 2 days in a row, yesterday and today. So there's something fun to them.
The Yankees can't even sell out Yankee Stadium 2 days in a row.
And I know that when they did it in your hometown of Chicago a few weeks ago, they were at the White Sox Stadium. I know they haven't sold that out in a while.
No. And the funny thing is that I don't even know what the name of it is anymore, but it's always going to be Comiskey Park for us. Chicagoans will always refer to that as Comiskey, just like Wrigley is always going to be Wrigley. I don't think that they will ever change the name of that. Even if somebody bought the naming rights, they would never change the name. They couldn't. It's always going to be Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, cut and dry.
Yeah. But I thought that was a silly one. That was like, okay, great. You get the digital world and the real world thing mixed together there with the Matrix and the Tron thing. And I was, like I said, I almost saw that. I felt like watching that new trailer. If you've seen it, it was very, very cool. It's like, hey, here's AI in real world. And it's just freaking, Jared Leto standing there kicking everybody's ass.
Doing flips, flipping out.
Exactly.
But so I now here I like the idea of what you're saying, like the Office style, Modern Family kind of documentary style shooting. You could actually do that damn near to anything that's out there right now. You could do that in the Star Wars universe. You can do that in Star Trek. You can do that in Monty Python. You know,
Day as a
honestly,
stormtrooper.
it's right, exactly. You know, it's just like they kind of did something like that on Saturday Night Live with Undercover Boss, and it was like Kylo Ren.
He's sitting there like strangling everybody and throwing everybody's coffee with a force, and
Dave's a straight up dick.
cuts to Dave. So Kate couldn't, obviously, you called it. She has more ideas. So she
I knew
said,
she would.
one of my current favorite shows on TV, The Boys. Why stop with the superheroes that they have? Go after the Avengers.
You know what? That I've so
Avengers meets The Boys.
I like that.
Comment.
I like that because in the comic book world, there have been DC Marvel crossovers. Why not bring out Homelander, who is basically the bad version of Superman who pretends to be good, but he really isn't. You know, I got to tell you, I do like I've always liked that concept of the corporate sponsored superhero, and your popularity and how good you are is basically based on how many likes you get, and it's
Marketing.
we're doing right now.
Advertising. Merchandising.
The seven, the sequel, the seven.
I couldn't help but think of Spaceballs. Literally the first time I was watching The Boys, and they were talking about, well, you don't get enough likes, sweetheart.
Yeah. It's just but that's what I think has been missing in the superhero genre in itself, is that grittiness, that basically like F you kind of, not everybody that's a good guy really is a good guy. Yeah. It's all about perception. That's the reason why I love that movie Brightburn. Brightburn is basically, and they were supposed to make a sequel to that, and that's basically telling the story of what if Clark Kent grew, was, when he discovered his powers, was like, you know what, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Let's go ahead and I'm just gonna lay waste to people because I can. Didn't grow up with any type of morality, and even though his parents probably tried to instill those morality, not everybody is good,
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked that. I liked that idea, even though there were some kind of really squirmy moments in Brightburn that was just like, oh, I can't.
Nope. There you go. Oh God. I've been trying to think of one, and maybe you can help me think of one here. I'm just trying to think of what other weird places you could drop somebody like John Wick into, and like what would a movie would drop him into? It's like that was the one I was like, there's got to be something comedic here that I'm missing, and I can't figure it out.
So you could put John Wick in with the latest Marvel movie, the Thunderbolts, the quote unquote new adventure or Avengers, who basically are just like a ragtag team. They're the A team of the Marvel universe. They're just a eclectic group of people that just like we all bring something different to the table, but we're not really organized.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that kind of stupid thing, and then it was like I was trying to think of like another one that was like, oh, it'd be great to place like Doc Brown and Marty McFly in something, but Rick and Morty's done that already.
Right, that's what they were based on. Rick and Morty was based on. God, what else? No, that's a really good question, because there are so many like hero types,
But John Wick's not a hero. He just happens to be our hero in those movies.
That's right.
I mean? He's an
anti-hero. He's an assassin.
Yeah. I was like trying to think. I was trying to place it. Go for it.
John Wick is going after, or is his next target is Jason Bourne.
Ooh, spy movies right there. Interesting.
And the whole time, Tom Cruise is trying to Mission Impossible his way out of it.
Oh God, that message might self-destruct. Or that movie. Well, the funny thing was I was hearing like, when I brought this up to a few people, it was like I was getting some really ones that was like, okay, well, what other weird movie can you put like Shaun from Shaun of the Dead in? And I'm like, I just can't picture him anything other than a like zombie movie, or it's gonna be like literally like what I'm watching right now. I'm gonna drop him in a car and Twisted Metal and let him do his thing. Oh, you got red on you.
Oh wait, let me think. No, now you got me thinking about those guys.
I'm getting the wheels moving.
Let's see. Taking him out of what was a really good I don't know the name. Somebody will give me the name, but the main character in Hot Fuzz, same Shaun of the in Bad Boys.
Oh man. Or just having the two of them in Bad Boys is like their like partner group.
Yeah. It's just like the other guys.
That one might be for the greater good, just saying. If to quote the Hot Fuzz movie. Because that was Pierce Brosnan's whole quote, the whole movie. It's for the greater good. But that was the fun. Oh, there you go. Hot Fuzz shot Office Style instead by Kate. Watch him do all the paperwork. They like whip through in like 3 minutes. Got some paperwork to do it. He goes all like montage with the pens. Oh, click, click, click. Too funny. But Tommy, those are the kind of things that, like I said, I wanted to goof around tonight. I wanted to have something fun. It was a little off the topic. I didn't want to do another rock and roll show because we've been doing that the last couple of times, even though you and I keep talking that we're going to do the mythical fiction-based bands like Spinal Tap at some point and have our greatest fictional band countdown show at some point. But I think we got to wait till Spinal Tap comes out for that one to be able to chit-chat that one. But is there anything else you would like to add before we talk about the items that we're going to be having on our Instagram giveaway in the near future?
Well, off topic, one thing that you and I have discussed, and I think that I want to throw this out to the fan base before we talk about our giveaways, is we always want to talk to you. We want to talk to the fans. We always want to bring back fans. And, obviously we've brought back Gene a few times. We've brought back Tim, and we've had
eventually Kate
on. Kate will be on again. But we want to talk to more people. And some of our more viewed episodes are actually with our guests. And we're talking like our LARPers with Gina and our cosplay friends. We had Paz on a couple of times,
Yep.
And I'd like to bring back our friends, but I also want to talk to some new folks out there because, there's fandoms out there that we haven't touched, and we want to bring back some of that stuff, and we are going to revisit the Magic the Gathering because we do have to do our live broadcast show where we're actually being taught how to play, and hopefully we can run a couple of campaigns. Is that what they call it? Are they campaigns?
I'm going to call it for that for lack of better knowing.
Yes,
but I'm going to assume it's in the D&D idea that it's called a campaign. That was one of the questions we never actually asked Will during that show. So see, now we're going to have to ask them that first thing. So what are we doing?
So I think that we will have to do like a remote show for that one. So then this way we can actually sit down together and have us walk through a couple of hands or campaigns or whatever you want to call it of Magic the Gathering, because I think that's something that people probably remember and have thought about if you're into card based games like that. But yeah, so again, if you have a topic or a subject that you want to talk to with us, by all means, we're going to have you on the show. We want to have you on the show because you are the subject matter expert. Yeah, and we want you to teach us, and we want you to teach the other. And
we want to hear stories.
Watchers.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, to give the examples of some things that I've been working on that I'm just trying to get dates on for us to iron things out. Rock BBQ Supply is in Henrietta. I've been talking with the gentleman that runs the establishment, and that is what his passion is. It's all things barbecue, collecting, all that kind of stuff around what he I guess he collects recipes would be more of the real thing, but that's a thing he's passionate about. I've been chit-chatting with him and thought it would be really fun to have that kind of a fandom talked with, because that's a wonderful group of people that obviously are very passionate about the food they're cooking. And then there's an episode that I'm planning with two wonderful people to join Tommy and I to talk baseball cards one night too. So both those things will, all these other things right now we're trying to work on behind the scenes, but schedules have been the conflicting issue at the moment. Tommy moving, me being busy at 2 jobs and other podcasts. Schedules are fun, and all the lovely people that we met at all the cons and everything like that. I have not lost your numbers. I have not lost your emails. I will be reaching out to everybody to have it. So as we plan these shows every other week, we're trying to keep a specific theme each night to whatever that fandom might be. Tonight, obviously, being the topic of just, hey, let's have some fun. But at the end of the day, that's the point.
And once everything starts, when the dust starts to settle and everything, and I have my own office studio once again, we may be doing some supplemental stuff. Like I already have some ideas of things that I want to do on the side. But other than that, I think that we have a good idea of going forward with the show. We appreciate you guys evolving with us as we find more to discuss and to talk about. But again, we want to have you, the listener, the viewer, whatever. We want you on the show because we want you. You're the reason why we do this show. It's for the fans, by the fans, about fans. That's what this show is. So
I almost did a disservice. I almost forgot the other person I'm working on trying to schedule with Emily and our friends at the Yankee Clipper, doing a show one day actually at the store. So that would, you and me in a toy store? Oh, God, that sounds torture. Twist my arm.
No, that's dangerous.
Yeah, to our budget for this show, which is none, by the way.
Yes.
On that note, Tommy,
someday we will be monetized.
Yes. On that note, Tommy, for our frequent visitors and whatnot, and people that are eventually going to subscribe, you want to show them what they could win when we post this clip of the actual thing on our Instagram here in the near future.
Yes.
So this will be one of those like, share, subscribes. And on our Instagram channel, it will be based on the video. So unless you like, share, and subscribe that video, you won't have a chance to win this lovely opportunity that Tommy is going to tell you, and show them what they could win.
All right. So when this goes live, and I will put it, well, it's not live. I'm going to make a video, and it's like Craig said, it's a like, share, and subscribe kind of thing to our Instagram. I have from my own personal collection. These are 3 glasses that are vintage. They are legit from the 80s. They are in mint, and I mean mint condition. I have 3 of the Burger King Star Wars glasses. As you can see, they are in great.
Looks like you bought that yesterday.
Looks like I bought it yesterday.
Hey, wait, hold on. I got this. Frisbee toss. Oh, wait, wrong direction. Frisbee toss.
And then, so I have 2 of the Burger King from Empire Strikes Back, and then 1 from the Return of the Jedi. And you can even see, I don't know if you can see it underneath, but it does say 1983 right there.
Got the Burger King logo on it, and a Sarlacc pet.
These 2 are from 1980, which you might be able to see, maybe not, I don't know. But either way, so when I go and I posted the video for this, again, it's going to be a like, share, subscribe kind of thing. Everybody is welcome to put it in, do whatever. Everybody, even if you're already a subscriber to us, you just gotta do all the other stuff. You just gotta like and share it with other people.
Yes.
And the number that we're looking for is 1,000 subscribers for these 3 glasses, and I will pack them. I will ship them. There will be no, shipping fees to anybody. It's not one of those, I will. This is coming from my own personal collection, so again, be on the lookout for that video for these three glasses. And I also have a few other things that once we go further, we are going to give away some other really cool stuff from my own personal collection.
And there will be things in mind, too, that will be also included, along with all the fun, wonderful people that we meet on our travels, trying to do our fun stories and everything. There will be some plenty of freebies and whatnot coming in the near future, because we know that is one of our favorite ways to give back to the community that is so thankfully taking care of us. So make sure you check that out. That will be around 1,000 subscribers piece to that whole thing. Like I said, will be the main kickoff for that on Instagram specifically. And we are going to just go from there at that point. So, yeah. But we will have some other littler giveaways, not the big one that Tommy's talking about there with that on the way to the 1,000 to keep things moving. So on that note, we'll keep an eye out on our Instagram feed for that, because that will be coming, or something an equivalent to it in the near future. So on that note, Tommy, anything you would like to chit chat on before we sign off tonight?
Honestly, this is the first time in a long time that I do not have anything going on, except for obviously tomorrow night is the third Tuesday of the month, which means there is dance practice at the Genesee Country Village and Museum for the Flint Hill Dance Troupe. So if you are in or around the area and you would like to try your hand at some 19th century dance, you don't have to have any experience dancing, because trust me, I don't have any experience dancing, but somehow, some way, I help lead that group, and I am the current dance master of that group. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And, you know,
is that one of those more like, for those who can't teach situations? Is that kind of the... I'm just kidding.
Right there.
I shouldn't talk can't dance either. I'm more closer to Genesis and walking like Phil Collins does.
But yeah, so we meet at 7:00 p.m. at the meeting center at Genesee Country Village and Museum, and it goes from 7 to 8:30 in the evening. So if you were ever interested in trying something like that, by all means, come on out. And that's actually one of the things that I am looking to do as far as supplemental stuff for this program for the T&C Random Fandom, is actually doing a kind of like a little bit of a dance and history kind of content with our friends over there at the Flint Hill Dance Troupe, with Kelly McCall, who is my counterpart over there. She leads the group, and
road trip,
and maybe some of our other dancers and everything. So by all means, look for that as it comes down the pipe. Those might actually just be kind of shorts and stuff like that. But please go ahead and look up my friends at Flint Hill Dance on Instagram, and give them a subscription, because you know what, they always like to have new people, and you can see all the content that's being put out there by our friends over at Flint Hill Dance. That's all I have.
On my other shows, Jaybird Watching, this wonderful new 3D printed sign I got here. I'm gonna have to make one for us now, Tommy. So I'm gonna have to make sure there's a big TNC logo behind you. so that's coming soon. Anyways, on that note, this coming week, there's a few chances we've had former Blue Jay pitcher Bob File on for a reoccurring guest every last few weeks. We just had him on the show. He's been hooking us up with a lot of wonderful teammates and people he's met along the way. We might be having former Toronto Blue Jays World Series champion Todd Stottlemyre on over the next month. We are
Stottlemyre?
Yes, as in Mel Stottlemyre's kid.
What?
Former Yankee, yeah. So he's been on the show before. We love having him. He's got some free time and a wonderful new energy drink kind of like product coming out that will be released in Canada shortly. But on that avenue, yes, we'll wiggle about that one. And on that piece to the whatnot thing on that, we also have a wonderful Twitter follow or Instagram and everything like that. Check her out. She's amazingly knowledgeable on baseball, all things baseball, and it's Brooke Knows Ball. And she's going to be on the show with Hey Comey, who is another wonderful baseball mind too, that does some great content on TikTok. So we're basically having TikTok night in 2 weeks on the Jaybird Watching podcast. So it's going to be a fun time. Outside of that, we're going to have all kinds of fun here over the next couple of weeks too, Tommy. And we'll have a wonderful new topic picked out for you based on where our guests and everything go and wherever Tommy ends up landing up in the next few weeks. So make sure you tune in. Anything else?
No. Hey, go Bills.
The Bills.
2-0. 2-0. And guess what?
Hopefully Josh Allen's nose is still straight.
But one of the best things I can honestly say, it's been a great football weekend. Michigan won, and the Bills won. They're 2-0. But the Chiefs are 0-2, and so are the Dolphins 0-2.
And we got a short week this week to the Bills going to Miami. Oh no, sorry, back to Buffalo for them to play the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. So
and Miami's about ready to go 0-3.
Yeah, trap. Anyway, so thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Kate, wonderful ideas, and thank you for everybody else that submitted some stuff, and we'll talk out some wonderful new things at Random and Fandom for you in the next few weeks. Make sure you keep your eyes out on the Instagram there for us to hit those like, share, and subscribes on our upcoming contests, and we'll go from there. We hope you have a great night, and I'm just going to end this with a Go Bills.
Go Bills.